right, folks, welcome to it. Here we are on the second day of the 2026 New Zealand Ultimate Championships Division 2 here in Ototaki, Christchurch. We are at Hagley Park North on the beautiful Bob Dean Field. The sky is blue, the grass is green, the energy is electric for the women's division final match between Hills Blackthorn from New South Wales and the Matriarchs. My name, as always, is Blair Munro.
My name's Rachel Siahani Royal.
And what a joy it is to be here, to be your eyes and ears on the ground for this exciting coverage of what is going to be one of the most hard-fought matches of our entire tournament so far. All of our teams throughout their quarterfinals put on really, really strong performances, earning their spot in the top four. We had Matriarchs squeeze out a reasonably narrow win over their opponents in their semi-finals. Definitely one to go watch if you haven't already.
And the sky is very blue, as in there are no clouds, and the sun is beating down today. So potentially a little bit advantage to an Australian team that's coming from a warmer climate than the New Zealand players. Let's see how we're dealing in this heat over the course of a game. Hopefully they've hydrated adequately and gotten all the short-chain carbohydrates on board that they might need. This is the only game that really matters over the course of the weekend, the last game. This is what you're going to remember your weekend by and your season by as well. Quite large squads on both sides. The Matriarchs hosting a slightly larger squad. Lots of legs, no excuses when you're on the field. You have to keep up the pace, keep up the pressure on the other team, but also, as we said, maintain your composure in this heat. We see the Matriarchs, Kate Franson receiving a disc to pull. Oh, sorry, Jana Maehr receiving a disc to Crystal Kane to pull the disc. Starting on defense, Hills Blackthorns looking to open this game out with a score.
Huge pull from Kane, sitting it nice and long. Fielded well and early by the Blackthorns. Goes to Perryman. Finds Ramsden near sideline. Not a huge amount of defensive pressure from the Matriarchs just yet. Hills Blackthorn not having a big trouble moving the disc. Lorenzen puts up the big shot looking for Ramsden, but it's going to peel back out.
That came out of her hand looking really nice, but it didn't curve the way we wanted it to. And that did go out the sideline. We did see some match defense from Matriarchs, which is different to what we saw this morning. So they're trying something out against this Australian team that they might not know as much about. They were a little bit looser on the unders. They got lucky with that fading out of the sideline. It was a beautiful, completely open cut. We have it coming in on the cone with Kane.
Marked by Ewan. Vertical stack, we're getting cuts from the midfield, stretching into the deep space, putting a wide shot over to the break side, taken with two hands by Frost.
Nice vision there by Kane. Oh, just overshot Hollyoak there. So a hot start, but a little bit too fast to find the second receiver. We have another vertical from Hills Blackthorns. And a little pop to keep the disc alive. Some tight defense by Kane.
Ewan putting it up. Finds Lorenzen again near sideline.
Is Lorenzen going to look for a huck to the end zone again?
Goldstiver available as the reset. Oh, off the fingertips. Second attempt. It's clean. Quick pop pass to keep things going. Pushing to Perryman. Unmarked in the end zone for the score. And that is going to see the Hills Blackthorns go up by one early on in the piece.
That is an offensive hold to open the game. They managed to get possession back quite quickly after that initial turn, so Hills Blackthorn are probably going to be happy with that. They play some fast-paced ultimate. This is good vision here to keep an eye on the disc as it comes around and curves around to get the disc back again into the end zone. Standing still receiver, we love to see it. Lorenzen received the disc in a similar place on the field twice that point. Let's see if we something to keep an eye out on defense to try and stop for the Matriarchs.
Just like they're warming up. Matriarchs to come out on offense this time.
We have a couple coaches or non-playing volunteers on the line for the Blackthorns, passing on information. The Matriarchs, an uncoached team, they have a lot of experience playing with each other over the years. A lot of them have played at Masters level, internationally and nationally together. maybe even Grandmasters level. This is their opportunity to show us what their offense looks like. Big huck from Lee to start the point. We have
10 to pick up and initiate, going through to Sisson with that left hand we've seen a lot from. Nice little break, goes through to Linky, winds up, backhand, short range, finds Hickey.
Hickey wanting to put it up, finding just a little too high, finding the Australian player instead. A second bid, but now that means an open player in the deep for the Blackthorns.
Van Housen has it now in a good position, can't find Jesse Lee as the defense closes the jaws around. Goes back to Van Housen here. Hudson. Big wide shot, looking for it. Towed in. It's going to be called good.
Some good footwork there to tow that in. I'm not sure if she was watching the line as she caught that, but it was called in by Hickey. We get to watch it on the replay. It was a beautiful curving shot into the end zone. Two open players there almost as well.
Yeah. And that's going to be Foster with it for Hills Blackthorns, taking them to a 2-point lead with an early game break.
Yeah, we saw some hesitation on the throws from the Matriarchs as they were trying to choose their options, which was maybe indicative of the pressure that the defense is putting on from the Blackthorns. Having to go for slightly riskier options above the head. Trying to catch it with looking into the sun.
What a rundown.
The wind is pretty much non-existent, but it's there.
Yeah. There's a photograph of the wind somewhere on the fields, about to make itself known. Gentle gusts, and again, while these teams are doing a really good job of keeping the disc relatively low, they're going to remain unaffected by it, and so this is pure precision. This is just execution versus execution. We've got Lorenzen with the disc to pull things off for the Hills Blackthorns. Strong pull, but it's going to carry out of bounds. Bricked by Franson to be brought back in.
We're seeing some match defense being set up. Or no, sorry, we're having some poaches underneath. So they're setting up something a little different. It's being recognized by the Matriarchs. Lots of chat on the field about what they're seeing on defense.
Zone around the handlers, match defense in the downfield. An interesting choice, although we're seeing some switching in the downfield. Goes through to Dikma.
Ooh, and not enough for McDonald. I think that was just a little floaty, not enough spin on that from the Matrix player.
Pyramid to Ramsden. Ramsden puts up the big shot. It is! Roxy Lorenzo puts it away for another break.
A quick start for the Hills Blackthorns. Intimidating start. They're doing really well to maximize on those turns. Fast turns as well, picking it up quickly after the turn, kind of catching the Matriarchs, not quite flooding the end zone like they maybe should be. As soon as that turn happens, hitting the end zone, no matter what player you're meant to be picking up, to ensure that that scoring pass is being covered before you find the rest of the players in the field.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to do, especially if you feel like you've built up a lot of offensive momentum, and then there's that scramble. We're seeing a timeout call, which is pretty reasonable, having given up 3 points on the bounce. Matriarchs are in a position where they need to recognize something has to change, and it could be in terms of strategic thing. It might be looking at going back to some zone defense on a transition, which we did see them use quite effectively in their semi-final match. But it might also be a case of like, what's working well enough that we want to double down on it.
Yes, and also now that they've had a glimpse at the transition zone from the Hills Blackthorns, they were also able to hear the counting on the sideline. They weren't actually able to reach the transition to match, but they know it's coming now. So something to mentally prepare for, just passing on their observations to the rest of the team. But a chance also to just reassess what, as you said, what they do well, what they can do to score, what they have done previously this tournament. The Matriarchs not having trained together nearly as much as Hills Blackthorns have. I don't know if there was much training at all for the Matriarchs. There is a lot of experience and a lot of strength and fitness, but I'm not sure if everyone came together to do that training.
It's like riding a bike. It comes back to you pretty quick. And I mean, realistically as well, considering that they've made it to the finals, it's one of those things, it's a testament to their experience and the depth of their ultimate knowledge and careers that they're able to essentially use a tournament as that opportunity to really gel together and find themselves a spot in the finals.
We have Hills Blackthorn taking the line. Lee lining up the pole. There are a couple of support players on the sidelines for the Matriarchs, even if they're not talking to the line on the field. There are a couple sets of eyes trying to pick up what they can glean from the other team and pass it on to the Matriarchs. It's an interesting feeling when you're playing the last game of the tournament. There's really no other option but to use all your effort, give it your all, leave everything on the field, however way you want to phrase it. But it's a feeling of, I don't have to leave anything in reserve, and nor can I. And
I think the other thing as well, especially if you're a few points down, you don't want to sort of get into the headset of, oh, I've given up a game without having left it all out there. You don't want to sit and finish a tournament, have that silver medal placed around your neck and think to yourself, I could have done more.
Absolutely not a time to rest on your laurels. We see Parker signaling readiness for the Matriarchs. Lee puts the pull up. Nice distance, hits the ground a little early. It's about the brick mark length.
Kane to tan early. Continues through, finds Frost.
Frost in the middle, hucks it, a very bladey shot, and a good read, but not able to get her hands to it. Bathing Weight turns it over. A quick offensive play. Lee to Doran, back to Lee. They're moving quickly. Huge huck.
Looking for Chapelo. What a rundown. It's not going to be enough.
That came out looking so pretty. It just was a little sharp at the end and came down fast without a chance for Chapelo to run onto it. But it came out, it was released very quickly. It was hard to cover as a defensive player. Beautiful looking throw from Lee. And Chapelo in the right space to receive it. We see Sisson walking to pick up the disc. One of the Matriarchs' sneaky lefties.
Sitting up in a horizontal stack as well. So there's a huge channel in the downfield for them to utilize, and Sisson's done a great job so far of demonstrating her ability to connect with it, but can't find Bassingthwaite on the undercut. Quick reset to Lee, goes through. Sewell has it.
Sewell looking into the end zone. Lee now with the disc, fakes it down the line. Luing, jinking back. Oh, beautiful crossfield shot. That's lovely to Van Housen.
Van Housen says, welcome home on the score for the third break on the bounce, bringing the score to 4-0. So, currently the hometown heroes, the Matriarchs, New Zealand's very best shot at a women's division medal right now, currently not able to answer the Blackthorns' aggressive defensive pressure.
Just out of the hands, a bit of a soft turn. We get to see the score again now. Luing has brilliant vision to see Van Housen in the end zone here. Or sorry, no, it was
Lee with a beautiful break find.
Lee looking off her dump to instead score. Why would you need to dump if you could just throw it to the end zone? But way to see through the crowds for that shot.
And I think something else that's worth noticing as well is that the on-field communication with the Matriarchs, as Luing pulls around for that reset, that's going to pull Parker out of position to create that break channel. So really, really good awareness to see not just what the mark is trying to take away from you in a given moment, but also looking so far further afield to that far opposite corner where Van Housen made an absolutely beautiful cut for an almost impossible throw. Putting the pull up.
We see Nickel in the middle, looking initially at a vertical from the Matriarchs. A quick under from Lenke, but it's covered by a sagging defender in the lane. We're seeing another transition zone from the Hills Blackthorn. They're setting up a zone, counting on the sideline. Oh, that was a beautiful throw from Nickel, but just through the hands of Dikma, just a little fast. Dikma quick on the chase now on defense. Needs to get in the way of this down the line.
Goldstiver to Ewan, putting up the shot.
Hickey in the mix.
Oh, goes a fraction too early. That great defensive pressure enough to throw off the timing of Roxy Lorenzen. It's going to generate a turn for the Matriarchs and allow them to push back the other way.
That was so close, though. Hickey should be really proud of that pressure on this D. And sees it into the ground as well. Good to see the Hills Blackthorn player bounce up again.
Absolutely. You know, particularly in the Canberra Cup just a couple of weeks ago, there were a couple of ankle issues, so nice to see that. Looking pretty resilient, managing to keep the body healthy. Great pressure from the defensive side there. Hickey looking for options.
No one in the deep space at the moment. We had a jinky little pass come off to Lenke, back to Hickey. She has 3 white players around her, not a lot of support.
Linky can't get around Ramsden, calling for something to come back through. It's Nickel. Losing a couple of yards but maintaining possession, doing a good job of moving up and around, looking for Inamura. Oh, off the fingertips of Ramsden, but Inamura gets it.
Diekma kind of open in the deep space, but just milling around. It seems like we have calls from the sideline about transitioning to match for Hales Blackthorn.
Hickey with it, doing a great job of conducting the offense for the Matriarch side, needing to put a point on the board. Linky working in with the give and go. A strong push downfield for Diekma.
Getting to the knees to secure that disc. Back to Hickey again.
Oh, great run through.
Excellent vision there.
I think that was Lau on the run through.
Giesler with the disc.
Goes through to Goldstiver, continues around to Ewan, pushing the near sideline. Inamura closing the trap. An open Lorenzen with the disc. Hickey's hands up. High put, who's it for? Ramsden with the one-hand take. Another break for Blackthorns to go up by 5.
A daring throw from Lorenzen there. Again, the same spot we've seen her twice before, putting up a similar shot. She loves this under, looking to getting into position and putting it. That one in particular was over a defender and an offender in order to get to her receiver. Lenke not quite winning the height matchup on that one, but getting in there, getting in the mix. But yes, very daring and precise throw.
Now an interesting thing here as well. Defense really slow to approach and close that down. So interesting that, you know, we've seen Lorenzen in that power position a couple of times on that sideline in that spot from that same cut. Matriarchs have seen it, and it'd be great to see some adaptation to it. You know, having a player like that, essentially uncontested, unpressured, with the disc and a lot of momentum behind her, she's going to put it every single time. And it's working quite well for the Blackthorns at the moment. So Matriarchs need to make an adjustment, even if it's just finding extra pressure on the lane, just closing down some of those windows a little bit for them.
Not only are they seeing this lane open up for them, but they know if they throw something a little bit more daring, if Hales Blackthorns throw it, they can get the disc back. So far, there hasn't been any scoring so far for the Matriarchs, but so they show that they can get the turns even when they start on offense. So you can be a little riskier and still get away with scoring at the end.
Kane goes through to Franson. Match defense from the Blackthorns, a great horizontal stack. We've got Parker stretching deep, trying to use the length of the field. Wong with the disc now. Those deep cuts not being rewarded. Pressure defense is forcing those resets and a touch on the way through. That's going to be Sewell getting the block.
And then cutting deep, looking for it, being shot too. We've got Sis in there too. And Sewell finishes the point.
Book ends for Sewell.
Almost catching a ride on the cart today as well. Bookends for Sewell. That was a great example of get the D, turn around, and run to the end zone. We see the Matriarchs kind of not slow walking onto the line. They're jogging now, but it's hard looking at that score line and being enthusiastic about going on. We get to see this shot here again. Look at the angle on that. One-handed.
Just falling down over the top of Linky, who had great positioning defensively on that between the receiver and the disc, but just that height, the fall of the disc, so well coordinated there.
So it'll be interesting to see whether the Matriarchs try something different. Perhaps they call a specific player cutting, a specific isolated player. They've shown in the first game that they have the longer puts. They didn't throw them very frequently, though. Without threatening that, I think there is a lot of sagging, especially with this initial zone look that Black Hillthorns are throwing. Blackthorns, apologies. Excellent. We have readiness here from the Matriarchs. Pull from Hales Blackthorns. a very warm day here in Ototahi.
Perryman puts up the pull to kick things off. Weisbrod with the disc, pushes far sideline.
We see Tan looking for a swing, back to Weisbrod. Weisbrod demanding the disc back. Brown to Walker. This is a nice shape. Not quite finding that J shape on that next pass, but patient nonetheless.
McDonald nice and active in the midfield. Bassingthwaite trying to test the undercuts on the near sideline. Walker looking for re-engagement. Goes back to Weisbrod.
Bassingthwaite really open here, but it's a hard shot.
McDonald helps get it into position, but there's miscommunication. It's going to generate a turn. An unforced error by the Matriarchs puts Ewan in a good position to kick things off, going back to Perryman, pushing far side for Goldstiver. Unpressured Huck goes up for Ramsden for the score, despite great positioning and timing by Tan. It's not going to be enough to generate a turn. The score is 7-0, Hills Blackthorns over the Matriarchs. 1 point away from half and a race to 15. 90 minutes on the clock.
A very economic first half so far by Hills Blackthorns. It's tough to play against when you're down by this much and you're not able to string as many passes together as you'd like to get into a rhythm. Although they are finding movement, it's just not a lot of gains. There are a couple throws. There are dumps available. They're trying to work through that middle space. There have been a couple of chances that they had to shoot it down the line, but the Hills Blackthorn players are always getting a hand in there. They're just a little closer on that match defense.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things when we're looking at a level like this, quite often players, particularly when we're looking at a national level, I think we find a lot of players will speak on the field. They will talk to one another. They don't often use names. And I think a part of that is, if you're calling in isolation and things like that, you don't see a huge amount of that name calling because in a player base like New Zealand where most people know each other, you then recognize what the other team's doing. This is a great opportunity for Matriarchs to recognize that and say, hey, they don't know who we are. If I say, Anne-Marie, I want you here, Hills Blackthorns will still have to react to it rather than anticipating it. So there's an opportunity there for them to just tighten things up that little bit, making sure that that on-field communication supports the ability that we know the Matriarchs can demonstrate. Kane to pick up. Goes through to Sisson early.
Ooh, nice take from Hollyoak. Good assertiveness to move towards the disc there, attacking the disc.
Parker through contact is going to be a call. It's going to be uncontested by the looks, or accepted, I should say.
Just on those outstretched arms on the disc. Parker has great hands. Quite often will only go up with one hand. Secure with the disc. Looking now to swing to Sisson. Down the line. Excellent snag.
Huge upline. Left hand high. Looking for Inamura. She got the read. Oh, Van Housen gets a touch. That's a hot. That's probably one of the tallest players on the field right now. She's parking up deep. It's making things a little easier for the Blackthorns. Great take by Hudson.
Another fast start by Hills Blackthorn to Lewing in the middle, on the sideline, to Doran. This is just open under, a couple meters at a time, and to open under.
Sewell for Lewing.
The matchups are just not being found. To Lee in the end zone.
And that is going to be the end of the first half. Perfect defensive efficiency, just about. I think once Hills Blackthorns got the disc on a defensive opportunity, they only gave it back once during that point. So really, really good work by Blackthorns to go 8-0 over the Matriarchs to end out the first half. Looks like this one might be a
bit of a shutout.
Yeah, but hey, there's still time. Matriarchs can fight back. They've got the capability to do it. This halftime is going to be instrumental in seeing what tweaks they want to make, what kind of adjustments they have in store. Can they reach into the back pocket and pull something out that's going to allow them to answer with a little bit more assertiveness in the second half? And the
Matriarchs coming back into this game in the second half, trying to react with determination and drive rather than any intimidation. You kind of have to partly put the first half of the game out of your mind and focus on what you're trying to achieve. There's definitely the depth in it to bring the scoreline closer. Whether there's enough strength in the team to bring the scoreline even, we'll see. But I'm looking forward to seeing some intense frisbee out of both teams in the second half.
But until then, folks, the score is much like a lot of our Ulti TV crew at a non-vegan restaurant, 8-0. So we're going to be back for the second half relatively soon, but until then, my name is Blair Monroe.
My name is Rachel Sihani Royal.
Stay tuned, folks. It's the 2026 Division 2 Ultimate Championship Women's Final. What a day for it. All right, folks, we are back for the exciting conclusion of the women's final in the 2026 Division 2 Ultimate Championships here in Ototahi, Christchurch. Beautiful Hagley Park North. Hills Blackthorns, having started out with an offensive hold, they're going to start on defense, but so far starting on defense has not proved a barrier to them, as they've been able to generate a string of breaks to close out the first half relatively unchallenged.
Yes, we had a energetic halftime from Hills Blackthorn. There was lots of dancing, music going on, a little bit more talking, and on the Matriarch side, a swing to Bootsma, a deep cutter not thrown to. Some safe hands in Crystal Lenke. Looking down the line, the disc is up.
Bootsma has separation, Parker's there. No, Luing shutting it down.
Excellent read by Luing, not going to her player, but she had her eye both on the disc and her player and was able to snatch that disc up, able to make the most of that poach.
Goes to Foster by way of Lee. Back to Lee, marked by Hickey, pushing towards that far sideline. Luing getting involved on this side of the disc as well.
There's a call on the field. I think there's a bit of contact from Sisson. Doran's making a call. It looks like it's accepted. We're seeing a lot of constant movement from the Hills Blackthorns players. They're doing a really good job of, if they achieve any separation from their defender, they are able to maintain it by just initiating the next cut, cutting to the next open space, creating options wherever they can, even if the disc isn't in the right position. Nice snatch there by Lee.
Goes to Luing. Oh, there's the fumble, and that's going to give the Matriarchs a chance to put their mark on the board. Hickey picks up.
Looking for a quick offense of their own. And not quite in. We hear a big cheer from the sideline, but sideline does not dictate whether it was in or not.
Bootsma resets to Lenke. Quick fake to shift the mark. Franson pushing to the upline. What a find!
Not in, called by Van Housen. Disc is in and scores with Sisson. I think there's a travel called, actually. When a player catches it with their first point of contact outside the end zone, travels into the end zone, they need to travel back to the closest spot on the end zone to where they ended up. It's not where they enter the end zone. So maybe there's a bit of discussion about that.
Either way, Franson right here on the end zone is still a threat. We also know Sisson for the Matriarchs currently unmarked. Once the disc comes back in, we might see that same pop pass.
I see Bootsma in the right-hand side with the open space in the back corner. A bit riskier. Instead, we get it to Sisson in the end zone. We're on the board for the Matriarchs.
Score is 8-1.
Not the easiest of holds for the Matriarchs, but showing that they can do it.
Absolutely. And now they get to come out on defense. They get to see, we get to see as well what their defensive structure is going to look like. Looking at some of the foot speed at present on this Blackthorn side, might be interesting to see whether or not they come down with a zone, whether or not they're trusting that match defense. We know there's a lot of foot speed present on this Matriarchs team, but how are they going to use it effectively to claw back the deficit that they've let go in the first half?
And at this rate, they really need to hold on to every potential break point they have. Every time they turn it, it becomes more important that they don't give it back to the Hills Blackthorns players. They have a lot of ground to make up if they want to be in this. Currently, it's every point matters.
But isn't that always the case, Rachel? Every point should feel like a game to one.
Sometimes it's only every O point that matters.
All right, well, we're about to see how that looks for them with Walker with the disc to kick things off for the Matriarch defensive side.
If O-line does their job, then D-line only needs to do their job once.
That's a very good point.
Disc is up by Walker. About halfway, a little bit further than halfway, landing and being picked up. Swung early. We're seeing a zone now, zone defense. Plenty of space right in front of the disc, and they're using it.
Pearman goes around, finds Ewan, pushing far sideline to Lau. Continues working up that far sideline. Ramsden gets the reset, recentering.
John's very open there in that handler space. Ramsden.
Little give go to Giesler, and quickly run in by Ramsden for the score. 9-1.
And again, we saw Ramsden create space between her defender, catch the disc, had a really easy dump, and didn't barely even stopped into the end, and then continued into the end zone. We get to see a replay of that now. Using the momentum, receives the disc here, easy pop, and keeps on running. Too open. You kind of, if you're going to see that the players consistently doing that, you need to have your downfield defenders aware of that and being willing to poach into that space, especially front cone space, which is harder for the defenders of the handlers to catch up into.
But it raises the question, if the score is already 9-1 in a game to 15, how much longer is it going to take for the Matriarchs to recognize that and start putting on the response that they're capable of doing?
The Matriarchs, as per their name, an older team on average, Masters and Grandmasters ages. The Hills Blackthorns team, a younger team. I have not seen them play before, but yes. Yeah. A team that has played together at previous tournaments, so have tournament chemistry as well, and also chemistry when it comes to being very fatigued, like they potentially are at the end of a hot day of playing Frisbee. We see the teams signaling readiness.
The hand is up. Matriarchs offense. Kane and Tan going to set things off as the handlers for this Matriarchs offensive line.
Huge chase by Foster.
Gets a big bite out of Foster, though, to open that channel. Blade shot goes up and around. It's touched.
Super high release on that throw, and I think it just always was heading towards the ground. Foster with the disc. Sorry, Hudson with the disc.
Goes
through to Lewing.
Yep. Two-handed take finds Sewell. Foster in traffic, gets open. Parker closing the window, but doesn't stop the huck going up. Gets the touch.
Nice chase there by Parker, able to get her hands into the mix. We see Tan walking to pick up the disc, giving Hills Blackthorn plenty of time to set up their defense. What we're seeing is a little bit zony. Probably we're looking at switches here. We see Frost off screen in the deep, dragging the deepest Hills Blackthorn player deep, trying to create space closer to this left-hand side of the field. You can see the big gap there now.
Now, we saw this exact same sequence that set up Frost stretching the deep space, taking that deepest defender, the tallest player on the field, pulling them out, and making it a 6v6 in the upfield.
We have a completely open swing, but it's a bit of a longer shot. It is put up. Hickey sees it. We see Frost down the line. Frost should be clearing now, though. It's that Parker having to go. Ooh. I think Parker's movement was potentially obstructed. They're having a talk about it. We get to see that again here. It's a tough one. Players could be considered moving or a little stationary, especially as the players, when they had contact with each other, didn't see where the disc fell. So it can be harder to tell whether that affected your play or not. If you can't see where it ended up, you don't know whether you would have had a play on it or not.
It's going to be an accepted foul, so
disc should stay here with Parker. No. Players have decided that the disc is going to go back to Hickey.
Which I suppose, if players are not able to make a determination as to where Parker was going to end up if she'd caught it. But even then, where the foul occurred would have been like where possession should have stayed with the Matriarchs.
It may also have been considered an offsetting foul, in which case it would go back. We weren't privy to the discussion, but it seems like it was resolved amicably. Lots of communication on the field. Hickey is unmarked, has the disc, and still has that big pocket of space right here. So that kind of throw, you saw those two defenders crash in on that space when the throw went up. They're obviously expecting it. They're baiting that space. And a big huck from Kane.
Finds Parker looking for Frost, can't stretch it. McDonald making the next cut. Comes around through the 360. Hickey available, hits the up line, gets past Hudson in a good position to finish. Anne-Marie McDonald, the Matriarchs' second point on the board. There it is, we are 9-2.
We see the Zodiac team cheering on in the corner, in the shade at the end of the end zone. Really happy to see that from the Matriarchs. That was a nice, neat little way to finish that point off. Parker seeing it into her hands. Parker turning all the way around to look at a single player in the end zone. Oh, that was an excellent attack by McDonald. I almost thought this was going to land in the end zone. Very casual lead for McDonald to finish it out.
Great work by McDonald there as well. Waiting patiently, sees Hickey available as an option. Manages to hit her on the backhand side and then immediately starts to develop that cut to get her to a great position for the next continuation. Little pop pass goes through, puts it on the board. It is 9-2.
The Hills Blackthorn player really close on that defensive, trying to attack that disc for McDonald. Another chance on defense for the Matriarchs.
Still yet to see if they're able to generate a break. They're able to generate turns, but it's that ability to capitalize on that, to really fight back the other way and make something from that.
Franson lining up a pull. The sun is really beating down out here. It's almost directly overhead. There's really no escape from it.
Touches down. It's going to be Perryman, supported by Johns in the backfield. Ewan gets a break, go through to Goldstiver. Big fakes trying to shift things. Ewan on a very, very short cut. Winds back to Perryman, marked by Franson. Nice and active. She wants to put the big shot up. Has to instead find Lau far sideline. Holyoke on the mark, but can't stop the big shot, goes up. Goldstiver looking for Lorenzen in the end zone.
It's a one-on-one with Diekma. Oh, Diekma was poaching off there, and it was very close, but the excellent read there from Lorenzen, refusing to give up on that disc. It looked very close from this angle. It'll be interesting to see the replay.
Absolutely, if we get one. Great work by, great pressure from the Matriarchs, but not going to be enough to stop that double digit coming through. 10-2.
Here you see set up a one-on-one or two-on-two. Then Diekma peels off to help cover. I think Diekma pulled out at the last second, but it was excellent focus there. Lorenzen has just been has been very focused on this game, and when she's on the field, making sure she's locked in.
The disc hit her hat on the way down.
We'll have to see what she says after the game, but regardless, another point on the board for Hills Blackthorns.
Score is 10-2, race to 15. Blackthorns to bring out a defensive side. We've got Lee with the disc for the pull. Some great Matriarch offensive players on the field, though. Inamura, Walker, Nickel, Linky.
We see readiness from the Matriarchs. Disc is ready to go up. We've seen a lot of very flat pulls. We'll see how far this one gets. Looks like it's going to the ground. Nickel to pick up with being supported by Walker. A vertical stack, everyone in the middle. Sam Brown to receive the disc. Back to Walker. Luing a little bit out of position, but finds her player again.
Linky on the far sideline.
Lenke has been shooting down this line a lot. Excellent defense by Luing. Never stops giving up on running through that disc. Brown just slowing down a little bit and but then
creating an opportunity for Luing to capitalize on.
Disc is coming in, nice break pass there. Ooh. And good grab by Lee under the positioning of Brown. Huge put. Walker snatches that up.
Great read.
Walker peeled off the back of the stack to receive that. Nickel unmarked as Hills Blackthorn try and find their matchups. They are playing match at the moment. A good cut down the line by Hickey.
Huge.
Great drive, great drive.
Bit of a tumble, drives through to find Brown. Linky looking to stretch the deep space. Back over her shoulder, looking for where the disc is. Hickey on another great upline. Oh, miscommed. Luing's there to snatch it up.
A big huck from Luing.
Looking for Chapelo.
Chapelo is...
Oh, what a rundown, but it's not going to be enough.
That was probably, maybe that was a first day of the tournament kind of throw. Brown already with the disc to Lenke. Lenke loves a down the line shot to Nickel. Maybe not even expecting that, but catches it anyway. Hickey trying to communicate with her handler. Huck coming up.
Rips it for Lenke. Luing snatches again. So dominant on that defensive side, especially in the deep space, waiting for those shots to go up. Doing a great job of just closing in on the path of the disc and getting in the way.
I think there was maybe just one or two many stagnant players too close to the disc for the Matriarchs. There was kind of like, oh, they're going to clear, then you can throw to me. No, they're going to clear. And there was a lot of pointing, but people maybe just needed to move and initiate instead. Excellent swing to be on the break side for Hills Blackthorns. Break side again. Open players down the line on the break side.
Hudson and Foster working now. Lee nice and open on a cut. Uncontested at the halfway now.
Lee has been instrumental for this game, for Hills Blackthorns.
Hudson gets the reset. Sewell there is an option, but it's still Lee on every other reset. Luing now.
If you're watching this game back, you could just watch Lee and watch as she moves.
What an inside break. Oh. Touched by Walker again. 2 blocks in the point.
A very convincing D there by Walker. A little bit of a chance for Matriarchs to set up their offense as Nickel walks to pick up the disc, which will come in on the cone. Lenke down the line, a position that she likes. Pretty open down the line, but it's a narrow window to hit. Up for Lenke.
Great find. Lee can't stop the huck, looking for Inamura. Oh, but it's not going to be able to quite connect. Foster right on the back shoulder. Inamura with great offensive positioning, but just that connection not quite there to allow the continuation. Foster goes through, finds Luing. Tumble from Parker. Goes around to Chapelo. Hudson cutting back. Not an option instead. Looking for Sewell. Marked by Inamura. Hudson pushes the up line. Big shot. Goes up looking for Lee. Overthrown. Blackthorns not able to connect on that one.
It's tough to see Lee slow to get up. She's been really important. I think they're having a talk about the contact there. I wonder if the positioning that Walker had was legal positioning in that if she wasn't making a play on the disc, she's not allowed to get into the line of Lee.
Looks like that's going to be a contested foul. This is going to go back.
It's a tough one to call. You don't know whether she could have laid out to successfully grab that or whether the contact on her heels really had the effect of prohibiting her from making that bid. So disc will go back to the thrower and the players will go back to where they were when the disc went up. It was a great power position huck from Hudson.
So as the disc comes in, see how things unfold this time. Nickel on the mark, nice and close to the disc. No momentum behind this one. Chapelo with a great slash cut, closed down by Hickey, resets to Luing. Parker on the mark, shutting down the lane. Lee comes back for the reset, goes big, looking for it. Oh, can't connect with Sewell again. Walker patrolling the deep space is making such a big impact for the Matriarchs' ability to shut down those long options from Blackthorns. Yes, it's an 8-2. It's an 8-point lead at the moment, but so far this is probably one of the longest points of the game, specifically because of the defensive pressure from the Matriarchs. They're able to really shut down Blackthorns. We've seen 2 blocks by Walker in the end zone. Blackthorns are going to need to change something up if they want to put this one away.
Also, with Walker making the switches in the deep, it does mean that there also are switches being made in the midfield somewhat successfully if they're creating these turns. So it's good to see that the Matriarchs are adjusting their defense. Some excellent flow from Lenke. Lenke is a great give-and-go player, and she's constantly using the momentum of the defense against them. We see a dump available, but instead it's a Hail Mary to Parker. Lee getting a hand, a quick hand, last minute. Very, very impressive. Once again, Lee on the move.
Sewell now wants to hit the up line. Oh, not able to connect.
and we see the disc moving early.
Hickey to Parker. Very handler-driven by the Matriarchs at the moment. Linky starting to stretch into the deep space as well. Inamura making a great midfield cut, but Walker now on the other side of the disc. Coming back through to Linky. Nothing developing for her in the downfield. Gets a pop pass through to Hickey. Looking for a big wide shot, but Van Housen puts the walls up. It's not going to go.
Matriarchs favoring the inside and the down the line, not using the around as much, really not utilizing this break side space. They're just kind of blinkered. They're only looking in this 1/4 of the field right now. Hickey working really hard. She's got great explosive movement.
Such a great upline cut. Parker now pushing, but it's Linky to put it away. Over Chapelo, I believe. Great score there. Matriarchs.
Lots of turns, equal number of turns for both teams. 5 turns per 10 in the whole point. Everyone who's on for that point is going to be pretty gassed after running around that sun. As soon as you stop moving during stoppages as well, I feel like the sun really hits you when you start to cook.
Absolutely.
Running is almost a relief when you get a bit of breeze. Whatever wind we had at the start of this game, it's fully died off now.
So now, Matriarchs doing a really, really good job trading throughout the second half. So they've put on 3 points so far to Blackthorns 2. It's an entirely separate game, or it feels like an entirely separate game to the first half, but unfortunately, because it is part of the same game, there's still that deficit that needs to be clawed back. If the Matriarchs can't put on a break, and a string of them, trading will just see...
A wall of breaks is what they need right now. But Lee had an amazing job that point. I would watch that point back and just watch what she does. She is constantly creating space, constantly looking for the next cut. Hickey was really had to work hard with her, with being marked by Lee.
And Linky being able to finish that one off.
So not an easy point there for Matriarchs, but they had a couple options at the end, and they slotted it in. So we see the hand of Franson going up, or sorry, Sisson, I should say. Sisson and Franson have been doing a lot of pulls for the Matriarchs. Nice floaty pull, giving the Matriarchs time to get down there and put their defense on. Ramsden.
To Ramsden again. Going back, finds Goldstiver. John's there, available support, but Ramsden, a little bit of adjustment. Goldstiver working through the midfield, marked by Frost. The other Ramsden cutting back in. Wants to hit Perryman on that near sideline for a bit of a gainer. Decides instead, goes back around, a touch by Anne-Marie McDonald, generates the turn. Matriarchs at the halfway mark. On offense now, Franson to go pick up and initiate. Supported by Sisson in the upfield, a vertical stack in the downfield.
We see here the difference in defense on a turn. A lot slower for the Matriarchs as opposed to how the Hills Blackthorns have been playing. Too far for Kessens. That break was a lovely shape, but not nearly enough sit. John's now looking to hit the sideline. A very free Lorenzen in the middle, but the timing isn't right with the mark. We see Ramsden now receiving it in the middle, looking for her break side continuation.
Finds Perryman. Big shot.
Blady shot. Not enough time to turn around and read that. Not enough time to change direction for Giesler there. A Blady shot. We saw a lot of those Blady shots in the first game this morning. We haven't seen as many now, and I think it's because you have to be a little bit more. You have to be a bit more agile and quicker to read them and adjust, and it's harder later in the day, harder in the heat. You want to make safer options, basically. We see a lot of excited Hills Blackthorns players on this sideline. They're running back up and down, supporting their team, lots of chat, lots of information. We see a vertical stack, which maybe isn't the best idea with the poaches that we know Hills Blackthorn are throwing. Franson running out of time. Maehr receives it clean, not marked at all.
No pressure on the disc, allows that wide side shot to Sisson, back to Maehr in a good position. Defense not really adapting. Some give-go now between Franson and Maehr. John slowly closes, hits a line drive to find Frost. Goes up and around, finds McDonald.
Frost did a great job of going deep, losing her player, then coming under. McDonald a little stuck with a strong mark. Shoots it high. Diekma and Kessens under it, but also a defensive player. Excellent bid by Lorenzen, but the solid hands of Kessens takes that. That is the first break for the Matriarchs. Now they know what it feels like in this game. And it makes the Hills Blackthorns team call a timeout. So that's got to feel good. A little bit of momentum.
A high stall count bailout option for McDonald.
You're right, it wasn't the cleanest.
But again, you know, it's one of those things. Maybe it's just about confidence in the teammates. You know, there was a lot of pressure. You could see Franson making a really aggressive cut back behind the disc to try and get that reset option. You had Sisson, wide shot, looking for maybe a crossfield hammer, something to open up the field a little bit. Decides instead, stall 8, grip it and rip it, baby, and just big send, finds Kessens in the end zone to put the Matriarchs back within 6.
I think there were too many options right around the disc for McDonald and nothing right in front of her. So that's why she had nothing just there in front of her. She instead had to go over the top of the stack. Great bid by Lorenzen. I'd love to know if she felt the disc pass, the wind past her fingertips just then. And a very catchable bailout throw by McDonald. We get to see this defense here. And good on Kessens for not getting distracted by that bid, maintaining contact with the disc the whole time, eye contact.
As I think ultimately that's what a lot of defense's job is just to apply pressure. You know, you can either get an actual block, you can make contact with the disc, or it's just about being in a position to throw off the rhythm, the timing of the offensive player.
So the Matriarchs getting a chance to catch their breath. They're going to be coming out on D. They get a chance to really drill down into what they want to achieve this defensive point. I'd say the momentum is kind of swinging, but it's got to be tough mentally to be down this many points. Hales Blackthorn has their coach talking to them. I have been loving the support from the sideline. I mentioned it earlier. It's been something that we've seen lacking. I think maybe it's harder with the camera here as well. But it was really vital to have people on both sides of the field, especially if the other team is utilizing the camera side. You need voices there as well, especially when you're tired. You kind of run out of executive function ability. You need someone telling you what to do.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the things that, you know, back in my playing career, back in 20. That was one of the biggest things, is having good sideline communication. It feels like a player who's less tired than you is just piloting you like a little remote-controlled car, and you give yourself over to team trust, and it allows you to execute at a really, really high level, even when that fatigue starts to set in. So yeah, that use of the sidelines making a huge difference.
The Matriarchs are going to be happy with that. However, looking at the stats, Matriarchs still haven't had a clean hold. We have seen 7 clean holds from the Hills Blackthorns, which also mean that they have been relatively low energy, potentially relatively low energy, compared to a point where there's lots of turns. If you can hold it cleanly, you can go off the field, call your D-line on, get some water in you, and keep going.
It's just better for your stress levels as well. Not having to have that massive kind of mental activation, making that switch backwards and forwards between offense, defense, offense, defense. Going out with a clear job, a clear expectation of being able to execute does a huge amount for the mental state of the players on the field.
It'll be interesting to see who goes on for the Matriarchs now that everyone's had a chance to rest. Who are the D-line specialists here? And also the O-line specialists for the Hills Blackthorns. So we've seen a lot of match from the Matriarchs, but they haven't been as tight on those open side unders, just a little bit. Rather than being proactive, they've been trailing and reacting. So maybe they've had a chat about how they want to preemptively cover that space, whether they want to include the switches that they've been using in the deep, and then also use them in the under space as well, and how to stop the momentum of those constantly moving handlers on the Hills Blackthorn side.
Tam putting the pull up, nice and low. Hudson to pick up and initiate, goes back to Lee. A little bit of scrambling. I think we saw a signal, but called away. Foster can't get the connection. Matriarchs with a shot here.
An early turn, an early opportunity. I thought we might have seen a layout there from Foster. It would have looked cool.
Kane to pick up, though. Break shot to no one. No, Wong underneath with a great recovery there.
Oren cutting deep, clearing space, and being thrown to in the end. But Basingthwaite is stealing that from Oren, keeping it safe in her arms. Another break on the board, a quick break. A quick break for the Matriarchs.
Yeah, and that honestly is the kind of momentum that they need to keep themselves in the match. Back within 5 is a pretty big deal coming back from an uncontested first half. So down by 8, back down to 5, a couple of breaks on the bounce. Hills Blackthorns now a little bit on the back foot. We've seen them call a timeout. Again, first half, second half, feels like 2 completely different games.
Maybe got a little lucky here at the Matriarchs with Wong to back that up. This initial look to Orwin off screen you can't see. I thought when that didn't go that it wasn't going to go at all. But with 2 receivers in the space, I guess the thrower couldn't resist throwing it. This just going a little over the head of Hollyoak. A nice break for the Matriarchs. A little bit lucky in the middle, but even if they had turned it, potentially they would have gotten it back. They are now showing that they can get it back multiple times. That pressure is working. We see Sisson. I've been liking her pulls.
Absolutely.
She's been an exciting player to watch. Now lining up with the disc on the Matriarchs line. We see a tall line on the Hills Blackthorn side. We have the Ramsdens on again. Disc is up.
Walking through fine standing is not.
We have early movement getting them all the way halfway up the field now without any interruption by the Matriarchs. Now moving. Again, the matchups haven't been quite found yet. We have Ewan able to make it all the way to the brick mark here.
Working back to Giesler. Again, John's available as the wide side support, but it's a little high.
Aiming for the cameraman here, camera operator. How rude. So that's a turn, just a little overthrow there.
And a shot here. We're going to see Sisson be the one to pick it up. Bringing it at about the halfway mark. Marked by Lau. Vertical stack for the Matriarchs as they're setting up Maehr as the center field reset.
They need to start their cuts early with these poachers. They need to be initiating sooner than they want to. They're initiating way late and not early like they need to. I expect a huck, or that works too.
Crossfield shot to Parker. Gets a bite out of Goldstiver on the first fake.
Sisson in the area trying to get that dump.
Oh, with the shimmy. Loses Lau on the upline cut. Left hand, big hug, looking for Parker. What a take and a break. Matriarchs are back in this one.
Huge take from Parker. That's some really safe hands in Parker, but there was a lot of pressure there, and that disc was just hanging a little bit. It was really, it made you really wait for it, that shot did.
Back within 4 again.
That's exciting.
Yeah, we have ourselves a final, folks.
We see the little jink here by Sisson to completely break her player. Little switch from Hills Blackthorn, but not enough. Double coverage,
yeah.
But Parker just snags.
That point was one on the strength of Sisson's footwork on that reset for the upline. Such good position, absolutely losing the defense, getting into a great position, uncontested, puts the shot up. Huge work by the Matriarchs there.
Sisson really taking a lot of the workload on her back this game. So that is 3 breaks in a row. Still a lot of work to go. Sometimes at this stage in the game, I feel like I'm dragging the effort out of myself, but that's what you need to do. Head down, focus on the game, get your blinkers on. Doran to pick up, quickly moving.
Luang getting some great give-go. Kesson's the only defender shutting down the handler space at the moment. Bassingthwaite getting involved, goes back to Lee. Luang can't hit the next connection, goes back around to Doran. Now we're into a more classical defensive structure. The pressure is on. Luang with the shimmy shake gets past Wong, puts out a low shot, finds Van Housen.
Bassingthwaite on Lee. We really want those handlers to anticipate, the handler marks to anticipate where the offenders are going to go. Doran really quickly pops it into the end zone. Under pressure, Luang takes the score.
A great hold there by the Blackthorn side. Doran just having that foot speed, getting into a really strong position to open things up, making it essentially a 7v6, and then all of a sudden putting the throw into a bit of traffic, which risky, but it pays off.
Absolutely. We get to see it again. A nice down-the-line cut, and then a little pop over the top. If only the defender had seen it a little sooner. An excellent, mostly contact avoidance by Hollyoak, and great grab by Luing. These shots, this is a sneaky shot. A risky one, but it pays off. If the other offensive players on Blackthorns had been maybe keeping the space a little further and setting the stack further to the left, it would have been less risky.
Drawing the defenders out of position, not allowing them to peel off so easily and pressure that shot.
But they couldn't waste any time in setting that shot up either.
Yeah. Great find there in the end zone. Luing, not the biggest target, but a really, really large sphere of influence, which is great to see.
We see the pull go up by Lorenzen.
Kane through to Weisbrod.
Lenke going deep, but a D there from 53.
Lau shutting that one down. Lorenzen to pick up. Unmarked to start. Hickey lets the reset go. Through to Ewan.
Matriarchs trying to contain this, trying to stifle the handler movement that has been so successful for the Blackthorns. A tall put up in the air.
Lau gets it.
Eaten up by Lau. Back to Lorenzen, who is the focal point of this upfield movement.
Perryman now, big shot, looking for Lau for the bookends. Is it going to come back in? It's good.
It's being called in, and that's some lovely footwork. Had the space and knew that she could take the time to make sure she kept that catch in.
Woo. What a take there. Blackthorns with another one on the board. That is going to be 12-6 now. 3 points away from a win here. Matriarchs still in this game. They're leading the second half in terms of breaks, but that first half deficit is still a large barrier for them to overcome.
I think that was a Lau point. She got the D. She recovered that shot that wasn't meant for her, and then she ended up scoring. Excellent work there by Lau. Keeps her on the disc. And make sure that she's not over reading it and getting under it. She's able to attack it at the last second.
Yeah, really, really good work there. Control over the end zone. Big put from Perryman. Nice find. Matriarchs offensive line to come out.
We're now almost 70 minutes through the game with 12 points on the board for the Blackthorns, and it's game to 15. So at this rate, depending on whether we see a pace like the first half or a pace like the second half, we could have either a quick game or reach the time cap very easily. It's kind of up to the Matriarchs at this stage to decide whether they want an extended game or not. A little bit of chat about holding the line. A little bit of a rules chat between the teams.
Chapelot puts up the pull. Little bit of roll, nothing too major. It's going to be Walker to pick up. Breathe, Rachel. It's going to be okay. Ooh, can't connect with McDonald.
There's just not enough assertiveness downfield for the Matriarchs, and that's what ends up happening. Chapelot, the big bladey shot to Doran. It's very, very efficient offense after generating that very early turn.
One and done. Chapelot puts it up to Doran for the score. It is now 13 Hills Blackthorns over Matriarchs 6.
We saw Walker pick up the disc looking downfield. We know, you get to see it now, we know that the Hills Blackthorn players have been bracketing or poaching or basically standing in the lane, however they like to call it. It means that those cuts either need to come in twos, they need to cut through the space and keep on going further than they realize. We didn't see anything like that from the Matriarchs. We saw maybe a little bit of hesitation, and that's how we ended up with a shot that hit the ground instead. A timeout called, I imagine, by the Matriarchs.
Yeah, a little bit down. I mean, you know, they had that string of 3 breaks early on in the half, which was great. But Blackthorns have now gone hold, break of their own. So 3 points on the bounce. So as good a time as any to figure out what the last few points of this game might look like. Now, we're playing at least 2 more points at this rate, but possibly as many as 9. Or possibly, we'll take, I guess, 10 if you want to do the math. If Blackthorns get 1 more and then they've got it, it's a whole thing. But Now is the time. This is where strategy comes into it. Fatigue is setting in for both teams. It has been a long 2 days. The weather is hot. The ground is hard. Bodies are starting to tire. Things are getting sore. The engines are starting to run dry. And it's about which team can squeeze the absolute most out of the closure of their season.
And also, in these last 2 points of the game, and of the tournament, and of the season, as you said, you want to play a kind of Frisbee that you can be proud to look back on. Because it's the kind of, those are the points that you end up remembering, recency bias being a very valid thing. You want to play in a way, even if you end up losing, even if you end up not scoring those points in a way that you're proud of. So you want to play to the best of your ability. You want to reach your potential. You want to put the effort in. It's hard to achieve all of that, but if you're going to do it in a couple of points, these are the points in which to do it.
So Blackthorns first to break the huddle, already sending 7 out on the line. We're going to see both Ramsdens by the look.
It's always interesting to watch the clock if you can see when the timeout is called. Add 75 seconds. That's when they should be indicating, or close to indicating readiness. Usually it takes quite a bit longer.
Usually is a bit of a load-bearing.
Although in between points you get longer due to the time there as well, but.
So, Franson.
We see on the Matriarchs line, Franson, Tan, Brown, Wainsbrod, McDonald,
Inamura as well.
Inamura and Hollyoak.
It's a solid line. Lorenzen, both Ramsdens as well. Lau going to jump back on after that impressive bookends performance before. So, solid defensive players here from this Blackthorn side.
We see lots of smiles on the sideline as well.
Luing with a goal, an assist, and 4 blocks to her name. I would be smiling too. Ewan puts the pull up. Nice and high with a lot of float. Plenty of time to chase it down. Touching down close to the sideline. Franson picks up. Ewan looking to close down the lane for the first pass. Tan's away with it. Perryman can't stop. Tan getting through to McDonald. McDonald continues to push. Lau with the run through again. On that far sideline every time. They've got to be careful.
Such a strong defensive player, Lau. She's shown us in the past couple points. Now that they've had to be getting the disc back after return, Lau is showing that they're able to.
Up and up and up. Oh, overthrown. It's not going to be good this time. Giving the disc back to the Matriarchs. They needed that.
I thought that early turn was really a testament to the fast chase down of the pole that the Hales Blackthorns showed us that time.
That is something that I think we've seen be inconsistent throughout the course of the tournament, whether or not players are really giving it 100% on that chase down. We've had a lot of pulls coming inbounds, but they've kind of been jogged down, and they've let the offensive side get away with a couple of passes that they didn't really need to. Franson pinned down by Lau, gets the upline, goes through to Wainsbrod.
Wainsbrod almost lined up a huck, instead looks to McDonald. Nice and safe. McDonald has 3 options in the handler space, too many maybe. Brown ends up cutting really close.
Franson goes through to Wainsbrod, marked by Ramsden. Horizontal stack, patient, waiting for something to develop, goes through to McDonald on a deep undercut, marked by Giesler, only gaining a couple of yards on that, but keeping position. Tan pushing into the upline, but it's a reset back around to Franson. The continuation has a high edge, not going to be pulled down in bounds. Disc goes back to the Blackthorns.
And the Matriarchs had to work really hard to keep the disc alive at that point. There was maybe a bit of desperate movement rather than assertive movement. I want to see those players, instead of peeling out of their cuts, finishing it to create space for the next player to come in. It's tough to convince yourself to do that. And another shot from Lorenzen. This one might be a bit far. No, it's perfect. Backline in the end zone. Was that her 4th or 5th shot of that shape in this area that's worked out?
Absolutely. And again, Lau getting the disc, pulling it down right at the back of the end zone. That is going to be second score of the game there. Assist-wise, it's just stats on stats on stats. Great work by Brittany Lau to pull that one in, taking the Blackthorns 1 away from a win. The score is 14 to 6.
This is game point for Hales Blackthorns. So potentially they want to just be calling on one of their D-lines if that's the kind of strategy they're playing. They've shown that they've got a bit of a lead, so they don't need to be calling a specific line. This shot's beautiful. And also kind of in the same window, but it curves back around in a way that's super easy to catch. But yes, if we're talking about calling on specific players, if I was the coach for Hills Blackthorns, I'd wait off on that. They've got plenty of time to, even if they do get scored on now, they've got plenty of time to play their offensive points and still win this game. Whereas the Matriarchs really have no other option about what they need to do at this point. We see the teams signaling readiness. Big pull, about to go up.
Chapelot puts it up again. Nice amount of float. Really aggressive chase from Foster to start things off. In place to shut down the first pass. Sisson with the disc. Goes through.
Luing right there behind Lenke.
Oh, again, managing to get that touch, but contact on the play. Looks like that turnover's going to stand, so there's no call. Huge moment for Luing. That'd be her 5th block of the game.
Really punishing any amount of slowing down that the Matriarch players are doing on those unders. Refusal to give up. It's really impressive to watch.
Lee hits the upline first. Luing back fills the handler space. Chapelot gets it through to Sewell over basic weight. Foster. Crossfield shot.
Sitting in the middle now with the whole field to score, and that's it.
That's the game.
That's the game. Chapelot finishes the game for us. Chapelot looks pretty relieved to have finished that. Doran to throw that final pass happened in the blink of an eye. She was sitting right in the middle of the field with everything in front of her, had everything she needed.
Oh, what a finish. Oh, my goodness. The spreadsheets are going to be on fire this afternoon after a fantastic performance there. Hills Blackthorn are going to be your 2026 Division 2 Ultimate Championship Women's Division
Which just
winners.
means they're going to have to come back next year to defend their title.
Ah, dang it. Great performance there by the Matriarchs, giving up the first half relatively uncontested, but putting on an absolute masterclass of grit in the later stages of the tournament, putting together a string of breaks of their own, really fighting hard, starting to execute, tightening everything up. If this was a game to 25, we might be looking at a completely different result.
We get to see the score again. I didn't even catch it the first time round, but Chapelot did, luckily. We get to see Doran finish it off. Great awareness from Doran to know that she had a player there, only had to turn around and was already releasing it almost.
Really good cross fields. Good contact avoidance as well by Kane, but giving Doran the disc in that position to quickly chop one through to Chapelot is going to put their dreams of a gold medal to bed.
I would love to see a rematch of this next year. I think that would be an excellent final too. But it really was a great example by the New South Wales team, how to perform in the heat, how to never give an inch, how to come back even when the breaks started happening for the other team. There's a wall of breaks at the start for Hills Blackthorns and a wall of breaks at the end. A really convincing performance.
Absolutely. Really, really fantastic to watch, folks. If you're going to take notes, if you're going to get into coaching Ultimate at any level, and you want to see, you want to give one game to your players to show them what really strong, hard-working Ultimate looks like, this might be the one. But that is going to conclude the coverage of our women's final. We're going to be back very, very soon for an open final coverage to finish out our tournament here at Hagley Park North at Bob Dean's Fields. But until then, my name is Blair Monroe.
My name is Rachel Siahani Royal.
And if you like what you see, head on over to patreon.com/ulttv. Give us your spare change. Help us keep bringing the best sport in the world to your screens at home. But until then, we'll see you in the next one.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with UltiTV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Oh my goodness, that is unbelievable. And credit to Chen and Maehr.
That was absolutely incredible. Ulti.tv